The warmest of welcomes to you folks. Can you hear me? Excellent. I'm seeing nods, I'm seeing thumbs. This is one of the best things about being here at the World Storytelling Cafe. I can actually see and hear people as well. And if you are watching this on, say, Facebook or YouTube, or even on our website, epictales.co.uk or the worldstorytellingcafe.com, you should go to one of those websites and click on Join Meeting, because then you can be here too, with me in the missing sock corner of the World Storytelling Cafe. And well, we have got a real treat for you today. One of the very first guests here at Epic Tales was Cath Little with her wonderful Welsh lilt, and she is also here at the missing sock, ready to share a story for you. Well, actually, I'm being a little bit sneaky there. She's not here at the missing sock, because that would get us in trouble with all of the people, you know, the 2-meter distancing rule and all of that. No, she's actually in Wales, funnily enough, and I believe the story that she's going to be sharing for you is a story from Wales. Now, you may remember last week we had a story from Amber about the eel catcher's daughter, and in that story, King Knut, he really wanted to help the ordinary people, even though he was a king. That's one of the things that Kingdom 1000 is all about. That's a special event that's happening for the rest of this year to celebrate the fact that the oldest equal rights law in the country of England is 1000 years old this year. So there are going to be lots of stories told over the summer right here at the World Storytelling Cafe for you to enjoy and to see exactly how that special law came together. And one of the things that we are doing is telling stories about folks who you maybe wouldn't expect to help other folks. That, I believe, is the kind of story that Cath has for you. And I'm really hoping that you are going to hear the theme tune to the introduction this time, because I know that some of you didn't get to hear that this morning. So if you are going to be ready for it, let's get your hands waving at me, ready to make the 2 claps, which go like this. When you see the little star fly out the book with Cath, ready to tell her story. So, you ready with your hands? Then here we go.
Shwmae, my name's Cath, and I live in Cardiff. This is a map of Wales, and Cardiff is here. My gyda fi story. I have a story from a place near Cardiff, a place called Ogmore. If you go to Ogmore by sea now, you see the beautiful beach and the sea, and the Afon Ogwr, the river Ogmore. And there, by the shores of the river Ogmore, there's a castle, well, a ruined castle. You can wander over the stones and look at the tower and wonder about the people who lived there once upon a time. Well, once upon a time, about 1,000 years ago, the castle was a strong fortification. It was built to suppress, oppress, and subdue the local people. It was built by the Normans. Now, the Normans came in 1066 and conquered England. They spent the next 200 years conquering Wales, trying to conquer Wales, killing the people, the princes, terrorizing the people, taking the land, building castles. And once upon a time in this castle, there lived a girl, and her name was Howes. She was Norman. Her great-great-great-grandfather was William de Londres, and he'd come over with William the Conqueror. Well, Howie's was brave and kind, and when she saw that something was unfair, she tried to change it. This is her story. It started on Howie's 13th birthday. She woke up excited for the day. Before the sun had risen, she dressed ready to ride out, for she was to be given a new horse and she was to go hunting, the thing she liked best in all the world. Well, Howie dressed, given the horse, and was riding out of the castle courtyard ready to hunt in the woods around the castle when she saw a prisoner, a boy of about her own age, manacled, iron chains on his wrist and his legs. And she saw by the fire that they were about to torture him. She was sad. She knew that boy had been hunting to feed his family. She knew it was unfair. She decided to do something about it. She rode right up to where her stepfather waited, the Lord of Ogmore Castle. And there were all the fine lords and ladies ready for the hunt. And Howie said, "Let the prisoner go. It isn't fair. He was probably hunting to feed his family." Her stepfather looked at her. He smiled, but his eyes were cold. All the fine lords and ladies looked at him to see what he would do. "Very well," said the Lord of Ogmore Castle. "Let the prisoner go. It can be a birthday present for you, Howies. Bon anniversaire." They released the prisoner, took the chains from his hands and his feet, and the boy stood up to go. Before he left, he looked up at Howie's and he said, "Diolch, thank you. Pen blwydd hapus, happy birthday." And he left. As Howie's watched him go, she realised that it wasn't enough. That boy, that family needed land of their own so that they could hunt without fear of being taken prisoner or fear of being punished. She, her own family, they had plenty of land. The land should be shared. She had enough food. It wasn't fair. So Howie spoke up again. She looked her stepfather in the eye and said, "Give the people land of their own to hunt and graze and farm. Make it fairer." Now the fine lords and ladies, some of them gasped, some of them laughed, and they all looked at the Lord of Ogmore Castle to see what he would do. He smiled, but his eyes were cold. She had gone too far this time. He decided to teach her a lesson. "Très bien, very well. They can have as much land as you can walk around from now, sunrise, to sunset." "Very well, très bien," said Howie's, and she got down from her horse. "But wait," said her stepfather, "I have not finished. They can have as much land as you can walk around from sunrise to sunset in your bare feet." Some of the fine lords and ladies gasped, but Howie's. She took off her shoes and she started to walk. "She'll be back," thought her stepfather, crying. But that's not what Howie's did. Howie's walked. She was determined to walk as far as she could. She was determined to make it fairer. She walked up the hill. The sharp stones cut her feet until they began to bleed, but she did not stop. She kept on walking. Cerddodd a cherddodd. Cerddodd a cherddodd. She kept on walking. When she did not return, her stepfather, the Lord of Ogmore Castle, sent soldiers to mark the land where she walked. He had no choice. There were many witnesses for his promise. And Howie's walked. The gorse and the brambles tore at her tunic and cloak. Her feet so sore and cut, she did not stop. She kept on walking. Cerddodd a cerddodd. Cerddodd a cerddodd. She kept on walking. She walked as far as she could to try to make things fairer. She walked until the sun was high in the sky, and then she began to turn. Making a circle of the land, she walked down beside the sea. She walked and she walked. Cerddodd a cerddodd. Cerddodd a cerddodd. She walked and she walked and she kept on walking. And it was sunset when she eventually arrived back at the castle, having walked a big circle of land, and the land marked out by her stepfather's soldiers. She walked until the castle, and then she collapsed. Her feet torn to ribbons, she was carried to bed. It took weeks until her feet were healed, but they did heal. And she was well again, and she knew she'd done it. She'd walked a piece of land for the people to make things a bit fairer. Now the people had land to graze, to farm and to hunt. It's called, to this day, Ogmore Down, Southern Down, common land. Common land for the people. And they say that some of the older people living at the village of Ogmore Sea, when they walk on the down, they say, look at the places where the ground is red. That's where the lady's feet bled. Howie's, she lived a long and happy life, a life full of adventures. For Howie's was kind and she was brave. And when she saw something wrong, something that wasn't fair, she tried to change it. May we all be as kind and as brave as Howie's.
Wonderful. Thank you ever so much, Cath. Let's have a round of applause for Cath here at the World Storytelling Cafe. Magnificent. What a beautiful story. And it reminds me not only of the story that Amber told last week, and someone with a lot of power doing something really, really good for the people, but actually the story that Amber told you was the story of King Knut and his wife, Queen Emma. She did something very similar, actually. She got her feet really, really sore on a dangerous walk in order to protect her people and the rights that Knut had won for them. That's just one of the stories that we are going to be sharing here at the World Storytelling Cafe over the summer of Kingdom 1000. But of course, for this week, the most immediate thing that you folks out there have to worry about is letting us know who you love the most. Like with our story this morning, who would you give that golden apple to in order to get a blessing from the heavenly host? All that really good luck. If you can let us know by 3 o'clock on Friday, then at 4 o'clock on Friday, I will be sharing the end of that story. As for next week, well, it's actually the last epic tale of the season because, well, it's nearly the summer holidays. And so we have an extra special one that I can't wait to share with you. And of course, if you are enjoying these and you would like to help us keep them completely free with all of the special teaching resource materials that are on our website as well to help teachers through the rather tricky time we've got at the moment, then please do click on the little tip the hat button here at the World Storytelling Cafe and put a little donation in. You don't have to do that though. These stories are completely free, and if you stay at the World Storytelling Cafe and have a look around the website here, you will find plenty more stories, just like you will at epictales.co.uk. So many stories, isn't that right? There are just so many stories, and it is great fun. We love being able to share them with you. Right now, though, it only remains for me to say cheerio, and I hope to hear your stories soon. Those of you here in the cafe, you don't need to jump away straight away because I'm going to stick around and have a little chat with you after if you like. But to everybody else watching on epictales.co.uk, worldstorytellingcafe.com, or all of the social media around the internet, well, what do I say again? Oh yeah, cheerio! And we hope to hear your stories soon. Cheerio! Look forward to seeing you again.